All right. So I'm just gonna draw for a little bit, and we'll just take it from there. I rolled up on the tables in the book. Not this guy. That's the one I brought in, just so I can kind of make sure everything works together. These things I rolled up for like the clothing style, the wand, and then just general body type. I didn't roll on all the body type tables just because it didn't matter enough. But he's supposed to be kind of lanky again. It's interpretation stuff. So, but I did want to keep in the last one, so I can try to make sure that they're working. Um, so you can see, obviously, this is kind of a slightly cleaned up rough sketch, and then I did this was my sort of initial rough sketch. Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome, welcome, bots and magic. Hola, welcome in. Glad to have you. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, it turns out all right. Be hanging out for a little bit. Uh, this is my last like official day um, of my sort of pseudo vacation. So the music is very loud in my own headphones. Let me know if it's too loud or too quiet for you, or anything like that. I just put up like the first like uh commission slots that I'm like testing out, taking them through Ko-fi, however you want to say it, just because it seems a little more streamlined than like having people fill out a Google form, which then gets emailed to me. Then I got to email them back, and it's a whole thing. So I was like, let me try it on here and see. But I only put like a couple slots for now because again, I don't take them a whole lot, but people do ask from time to time. So I wanted a place that's very easy to just like, hey, go here, and if there's slots available, it'll say that, and you can do it. But I realized like I don't really have much like new character art since I haven't really done anything in a while. So I was like, man, all right, well, all the example all the example stuff I have is old. Let me actually drop this a little bit more. All right, let's get into like I said. So I have a pretty okay base. Um, I rolled the loose hood with like thorny crown, so this is sort of how I'm interpreting it. We'll see. I tried using my little like window preview too, but for whatever reason, Procreate has it like flipped around. I don't know what makes it do this. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why it like will choose when to be accurate and not. And I don't think there's a way to like fix it. I don't know why they don't let me just rotate in that window, but I'm sure there's some weird technical thing for that. So I also rolled on the wand table, like for creating lawn, that it's like a wooden staff. So I thought the horned crown could be cool if that was maybe like sort of wood ish as well, like a like a kind of bramble or something. I don't know. We'll see what it actually looks like with. I mean, again, I think I got to remember with the size. I'm trying to use the same size brush for everything as well. So I'm like, I can only get so much sort of like in the weeds with detail, which Kind of helps me not noodle too much, but also like sometimes I do want to get in there a little bit more, and I can't. It just gets muddy. But I guess that's kind of the point, right? Because I want that level of weird twist to the art. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, everyone's having a good day. Start to the week. Mondays. As always, if you have any questions or anything, you can ask me. I'll try to answer best I can. To make sure my outside lines are relatively solid as well. So let me. I haven't decided face because I don't. I'm hesitant to get too detailed in the faces. Um, because I'm kind of like again, I don't. I'm not sure where I stand on that. It's like since they are supposed to be like player character examples, I don't want to like over detail something. But I don't know. We might end up solving that problem later. I think we can just focus on the main costuming for now. I rolled that he'd have the way I set up the tables is like headwear and upper body are two different things. So I was like, it's interesting to see that I got a sort of long, like oversized scarf as well as like a hood with the crown. So I'm trying to make sure that I work those in a way that looks okay. But it's weird because so for this one, compared to like the example one, right, where he's pretty much all covered up. You have the even like the big cubed helmet, right? Like not a lot of body there. This one is, he just got a shirt, an exposed arm. So a lot of different stuff to try to interpret. I think that's the fun part of it. I think that was my goal and my hope anyways with these the way I set up the tables is that they're like I said, I wanted the options to be descriptive, but not so much so that it couldn't be interpreted in multiple different ways. But again, I mean, I've never made a game or anything before, so I'm all just kind of like randomly guessing if things work out all right. my hope is we'll be able to kind of get through this relatively easily without many snags. We can get another piece of art finished up for this. I'm also just doing everything I can to avoid drawing anything that's not characters. Like I'm sure I'm gonna need other type of art in the book as well, but like I really don't want to make it. I don't think I don't want this to look too out. I almost wonder if it would be better to sort of. It's supposed to look a bit more baggy on it, so I think something like this might be better. So really, right now, I'm just trying to do like some implying lines for myself. So when I switch to the shadow layer, I'll have an idea of sort of what the form is for myself. And just knowing too, like a lot of this stuff is going to be probably covered over pretty good. So when I wrote the uh, descriptor for this one, personally, I had in my head similar to like Raru's arm in Tears of the Kingdom that Link gets. So that's why I'm kind of giving him a bit more of like a, you know, pointed nails and things like that. Like it's almost like it's a cursed arm wrapped in uh these like rings. There were a few things in here I tried to like look at, you know, designs or media or whatever that I liked and wanted to be like, okay, how could I, like, if I broke that down into like the simplest description, right? Like, what would that be? Which then people can interpret it either like I do or, in their own way. I think we're doing okay so far. Hey, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it. Like, this is the funnest stuff for me. Like, I just really love drawing characters, and kind of just coming up with designs as I go. I do think this should hook in underneath this, especially with these latest ones. Like, I think they really come together. Like, you can see this is how this one ended up, right? But if we take a look at it, in the actual steps, what we've got, like, this is kind of what the stage that we're at right now, where we're just doing the line art, right? And it can look fine, but it really starts to kind of pop once we get the shadows and textures in there and stuff. So I'm excited to, like, it's always like, oh, well, let's get through this first part, and then we can kind of really get in there and start noodling. So I'm interested to see how this one works out. I'm actually debating because we're talking about the face, if we just leave it and just having like an eye, you know, like just glowing eyes and like out of a all black hood almost, and maybe you'd see a little bit of like the nose, maybe like cheek shadow or something, or cheek light. Yeah, I don't know, maybe it's all shadowed out. I don't know. That's an idea. Listen, who knows? I think I have a couple options. I think that are. I might have mentioned pants and all, but again, I think a lot of them I try to mention more than just like just pants. So you could definitely say, "Oh, you know what? I want this dude to, to just have like a loincloth or something." Nude from belt down. Yeah, yeah. I got to take a break from my pants, guys. I can't really make it on this next adventure. I got to go find some pants. I don't know. I think my hope, just like with the nightlight stuff, is I hope that eventually, if these things get out there, that like I mean, the biggest thing obviously as an artist, right, is you love people relating to your characters. But I think with this and trying to design like a game or even like, I mean, I have all sorts of ideas. Like, I'm so tangentially want to be involved, but like having now worked on this is my second game, even though the first one is not done because that's Nightlight. It's a much bigger project. I kind of want to just make like assets or like tools people can use, and I thought like character creation things could be a way to do that. So I don't know. Who knows what that really means? Maybe just like drawing a bunch of example pieces of gear or something and saying, "Hey, here's some stuff you can use if you want." But my hope is that people will take these things and sort of make them their own in a way. I think I need to get this out. Some I'm not sure what I wanted to do for the boots. I know I rolled they'd have like pointed, um, they're like pointed boots, but I don't know what I want to do for like um, the actual like calf bits. So I might kind of sketch an idea. Might get a little too involved, maybe. Like I don't mind the long pointed slit, but like I don't mind the idea of this sort of strapped boots, but I think this is not the design to play around with that. Listen, I hear you, dude. Because, like, sometimes it's a little too warm for pants, but, it's not quite shorts weather, right? So what do you do? Throw the capri on, but you're just going to get absolutely slandered by the neighborhood. You know what I mean? You can't do it. But the reason why I didn't want to go with the uh the slimmer boot here was because I liked how we were almost like sort of flaring out around the bottom. Because most of the things you think, right, you got a big cape or whatever, but we don't. We just have the thin scarf. So I was like, let's further push into that sort of triangle shaping, if that makes sense. We'll see. I mean, we'll see how it looks in the end, but I think we might be okay. probably should do is just like take a day or something and just do a whole bunch of different like boots and glove styles to just have like, hey, this is things we can pull from, or just practice and kind of see like what they look like, what they feel like on characters. But it's also very different too. It's like this is, I think you can see sort of my normal style in here, but at the same time, I think it is different. So I'm kind of like mixing it. I'm kind of mixing my sensibilities to do different things. I don't like this, so I think we want to try to see if we can change that. So I got to figure out. It might just be a matter of having to sort of just work the point in a little different. That's not really if it'll just end up being something that we have to sort of maybe it needs to just be implied with the shadows or something. No, I don't like that either. But yeah, see up here we either get, hey, it's gonna melt your skin off, or it's rainy and cold. We don't hate that. Again, I think once we get shading and stuff, then we'll be able to get a better idea of it. Just want to break up the straight line over there a little bit. What I might do too is move. So the wand that I rolled has bones on it, and I'm like, I wonder if we can bring that bring that in a little bit more into the design as well. We put the one kind of on the waist, and I'm just like, I wonder if there's a way we can even just have like one angle or something, right? Just a little thing there kind of breaks up the empty space on the chest area. What I do now is go and still see if I can sort of line up here. Just giving my guidelines for my shadows here. So we've got pretty much the bulk of the line drawing done. Um, I do always like to give my guys a little like map or scroll or something on the hip belt. I don't know, it's just fun for me. And I think it just helps flesh things out. We do need to add the arm bands. You're supposed to have etchings in them and stuff. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I might just have to say screw it and shrink my brush size down. All right. So now my hope is when we do our shadows, I can kind of elaborate on these a little bit more. Mm, It's just hand. There's a wooden staff with bones. So right as well. So we'll have to figure that out. Do you think I need to change this? This doesn't make a lot of sense here. I think we just gonna change um, the other one to be a little more on the side. Yeah, so we should finish this scarf as well. All right, so we're pretty much there on a lot of it. You know what? I'm not going to put the rights on it. I don't think we need it. It just seems more extra than we need. Um, one thing I did want to try, similar to what I did with the ogre, is the hand and arm. I kind of want it to be like this is like a first sort of arm creeping up. I want to erase out a little bit, like around the shoulder and coming down, almost like you'd. I mean, you could sort of interpret it like maybe these bands or something are on there to try to slow it down or stop this you know whatever is spreading up the arm. This would be, I mean, layered. If it works out like we did with the ogre one, and it's sort of the discoloration on the skin there, it should look okay. We'll see. Every one of these is a new journey to see if it works out. Now I got to figure out where I'm gonna be sharing art posts because Twitter wants to steal my stuff for their fucking AI bullshit. So who knows? Their social media for now, but about to have to just say, hey, check out the Patreon for actual drawings. So I think I can do like free, like there's like a free feed you can sign up for that probably just works like a blog or something. Maybe I'll just have to do that, which sucks, but what can you do? Okay, now let's start to figure out some shadows. I should just fill the whole thing in and then erase it. Yeah, I don't know if this part is as exciting as when the line art and stuff is going in, but I guess we'll try to get through it as quick as we can here. Okay, let me make sure I don't forget these random little bits that would be shaded as well. I always have to sort of, I know I like to keep some sections of like full black in there, but it's always like I want to make sure I don't overdo it. Then I gotta work in some texture back in there because we don't want it too smooth. Make sure I kind of get this to look like metal, at least a little bit. I think we can do a little more here. Might not be completely accurate. That's all We're getting there, slowly but surely here. This part definitely takes the longest for me. So I gotta make sure that like these folds all fit and don't seem like completely different shirt. I might end up doing what I've done for a couple other ones before, is where I almost have a second layer um, that just kind of goes over the top, so I don't mess up what I've already got. I could easily just turn it on. I don't know how dark I sort of want this back sleeve to get. I do think we can sort of play with that. Mind that. We need to make sure the rest of it works as well. So since this is just wood, we kind of want it to have a little bit more texture. I just kind of get it a lot looser, I think, with these. And then similar, we might do a separate layer, just sort of go over the whole. When we convert this to tones as well, like some of these random lines and stuff are gonna blend more, so it shouldn't look too weird. Might do this on its own layer as well, like we did with the arm. And a little bit here. Just trying to find a nice balance so when we put everything together flat, it it works all right. They play a little bit fast and loose when you get to like belts and things, because again, a lot of it's just gonna be. It's weird because since I'm only working with the one layer of tones and a solid base color. I'm sort of like you just have to kind of resign yourself to that. Some stuff is just gonna kind of blend together and not gonna get a lot of details, and that's all right. But we're almost there. I mean, the legs are there's not as much stuff going on down there as up here, so should be should be able to get this done soon. Gotta look into getting these up on YouTube too for folks who can't make it to the streams. And you can watch them on Twitch, but I mean, maybe it's just me. I much prefer watching stuff on YouTube as opposed to Twitch, especially if it's not live. Like I don't want somebody to have to sit through. I don't know how many ads people might get, but it seems like it's way more on Twitch. I wanted the pants to be sort of like a darker color in general, but again, since we've got one tone to work with here. I have to sort of like shadow it and then go over it again to see if we can get a sort of base in there. Part of me kind of wants to leave some of it like with nothing just to see if that works as almost like a highlight. We haven't really tried that with these yet. Be very curious to see how it looks. I also kind of want a little bit of like the hand shadow on here. Don't is that like too dark? We do still have our arm shadow, but that's another thing. I need to make sure that the shadow we have for the architectural does not get lost with the sort of coloring that we have. But I might do something else with this as well. Like maybe we sort of some sort of swirls or something. With the sort of like shadow working against the tone for the arm as well. kind of might look all right. I don't know. It might be too much. We'll probably end up. This is what I usually have done: is I've sort of doubled the actual shadows down the line here. So as I mentioned earlier, I mean, if you like this type of drawing, I did just this morning open up very limited commission slots for either this style of character or kind of what's my normal, more like cartoonish style stuff, which I think I don't have like a proper command or anything set up for that, but should be able to find that stuff here, hopefully. All right. And we're back to Patreon art too now that it's a new month starting tomorrow. I have an idea and like a really rough sketch, but I'm curious. See, I kind of want to go for like a very old, kind of like almost like old heavy metal, almost kind of like coloring and stuff. I have this sketch of like a random wizard dude standing on some weird looking rocks. I'm like, maybe there's something here. But who knows? I always have these sort of grandiose ideas, and then I'm like, all right, what can I actually do though? And we've got like Halloween coming up, which I usually like to get fun stuff for Halloween. I have might be doing some Wrestlemania stuff for the Patreon in October, so I'm kind of like it's tough to keep my attention on this month when I really just want to get to the next one. I'll ever just think like, man, Hollow Knight is so good. Absolute 10 out of 10. Okay. Things I want to do. I'm just going to kind of fill this some of these spots in. Then I'm going to do the last bit of the scarf. put that on there. Last thing I want to do is I want to see if I can sort of just copy and paste the leg shadow so we can just kind of darken that up for the back leg a little bit without having to kind of go nuts. All right, I think that works. I'm gonna bring it down a little bit because when we end up duplicating everything, oh, the last thing we need to is our like bigger sort of textured splotches in here. Mm, This is gonna be. If there's an easier way to handle that when I get there. Hey, welcome in. So, okay, so now what I normally would do. Oh, actually, you know what? We wanted to try out uh some like a some just some eyes in the black there. So I wonder if we could do that. I think the best way to do this is going to be to probably give them color and then switch them to white after. Hey, thanks, man. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess I could see that. It's probably all the manga I read is just seeping in, right? I don't know if this cheek bit is going to end up staying or not, but I kind of wanted to try all like the sections we had kind of roughed in here, and then we can always like erase things or whatever. Okay, so now turn this off. Oh, you know what I can do while I can see it. Let's erase out what is not meant to be in here. I put this random kind of splotchy texture. I've been doing it over all of them. I find it just sort of adds when I get in there uh, and convert it to the bitmap. It just gives areas like a little bit more, so it kind of almost like keeps some of the texture in there without. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It just helps. It helps things look more crusty, which with these is definitely what I am trying to do. Which is funny. So I've had a few people mention this book Vermis when they've looked at this art that I've been doing, which is not something I had like seen or heard of. And then after like the second or third person mentioned it, I looked it up and it was a book, but it was sold out. Um, Apparently it sells out pretty quick all the time. But I managed to get an order in, and I just got my book in the mail today. Um, and it's interesting because I don't think there's a ton of resemblance in the art itself. I think more so what people are seeing is the rendering of how like I'm uh, using bitmaps and like tones because it seems like some of the art in the book also does that. So it's very curious to me. So already looking at these eyes and stuff, I feel like I don't want, at least I don't want the cheek and the nose there. So maybe we leave it just eyes, but I'm not sure even with the eyes if I like that or if I just like it blacked out. I do think there should be some sort of eyes, but I also think that like it shouldn't be as stark as this is. I always felt like that. It's um okay, so now we can delete this. We don't need this. I kind of like the swirls and stuff in the arm, so I feel like I'm just gonna keep them. So we don't need the regular colored one. What are you? That's a random texture. That's our tones. I'm gonna delete this. I'm trying to delete because I like to be able to have the file small enough that I can just email it to myself when we take it to the computer. Um, eyes, man. One eye is one eye cooler, or does that just look weird? Because you're like, I go back and forth on the eyes. I kind of, you know what? I like the air of mystery with no eyes. I think I'm gonna leave it no eyes. Okay, so I didn't roll on the table for a name for this one. Maybe I'll have to do that. All right, let's send this over here. Hopefully, I'll see if I can get Photoshop too much for me. Where is it? Sick. Uh, all right, we had green for the character. Right, yes, okay. So let me see. Hopefully, this shows up. Okay, so y'all can see Photoshop now. I wish I could get it so it showed like the pop out windows for you, but I can't do that. Okay, so I need to get, which one is my line art? Here we go. Hey, what's going on, Steve? We are just doing our last sort of Photoshop editing bits for this example artwork. Thanks, man. I think it works well with uh, tones. I think this one's gonna look cool. Maybe I'll pull up the doc too, so we can actually get a name since I forgot to do that part. Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't capture the pop-up windows. I'll have to figure that out. Come on, Photoshop, we can't do this. Okay, so now debating. I might just do so we can try it all in one, and then we'll see if I have to make another. Oh yeah, dude, that sucks. What an absolute bummer. So this is a TTRPG project that I've been working on in my vacation. That is a hack of a game called Cairn, which is like a rules light uh, sort of D&D style game. I don't know. It seemed very interesting to me when I was reading through, kind of looking for something to mess around with. I don't know a whole lot about it other than like just kind of reading up on it and reading through the book, but it seemed cool. And I just had this idea to make a game about wizards where like magic kind of messes you up if you use it too much. And it just seemed like a neat idea. Is that big? I wonder. So yeah, so I've just kind of been plugging away at this over the last month or so, off and on, trying to make something. Plus, it's just like an excuse to get a little bit out of my comfort zone or my norm, I guess, with art, right? That stinks. Didn't you guys have? Yeah, but I mean, I don't know how it works. Maybe that's normal, but because you guys have the game coming out soon too, right? Or is it already out? I'm so bad at keeping track of dates for things. That sucks. Like, is that just a thing? And they're like, hey, we already work for this thing is done, so see ya. That sucks. I mean, I see it all. You see that shit all the time, right? With like games, especially. It's what the fuck. Oh, dude. We might have to get a little crazy. Okay. Well, I mean, hopefully it's you're you can figure something out. 'Cause, yeah, I'm assuming that's probably tough too, right? Because like you're, I mean, at least I'm just kind of like how I would think about it is like you want to be excited for this thing coming out that like you worked on, but it's kind of tough at the same time because you're like, yeah, like sick, but They fucking fired us all by a weird like conflict of emotions. I'd imagine it's just shitty all over for sure. You know what I mean? It's like it's man. Honestly, sometimes this fucking society we live in is just the war. I just think about it sometimes. It just bums me out. I'm like, why can't people just fucking live? You know what I mean? Why is everything so difficult? Like, and it's not even like that. It's like like so much shit is just so overtly hostile, right? Towards, especially when you talk about creative fields and shit like that. And it's just insane to me because I'm like, general public, they just either don't care or don't think about just how absolutely awful, even more so, the world would be without like artists and stuff making the shit that they shovel into their dumb brains every day. And they're just like, nah, I'm gonna use my AI to make some bullshit or whatever nonsense. It's oh, fire these people, dude. That's like just fuck you. This makes me so mad. Yeah, well, I think that's. I mean, listen, I've spoken about this before. I think the when people started referring to these types of things as content, it was fucking a mess, and you've just not been able to get past it since. And like when the term content creators started becoming like, you know, the sort of norm, I was like, no, something is wrong with this. This is terrible. And people were like, no, it's just what it is. And I was like, I don't know, man. Seems like a bad way to talk about something you put a bunch of time into. And everyone was like, no, you're nuts, dude. It's fine. And then what happened now? Because why? There's a difference between art and content is fucking disposable. And people look at it like, well, and that's what I was talking about earlier, right? With Twitter now, with this AI stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I just don't post art on Twitter anymore. I mean, he can farm my dumbass video game opinions or whatever the fuck I'm talking about on a given day. I don't care. But like my actual work, and I know that there's outlets out there. It's just a matter of like, how do you get people to follow it? And I guess like the people that really care will, I guess, but like other social media I'm on, and I know I can do. I've got to look into it a little bit more. I know they introduced a Patreon thing a while back that it's like free. It basically just works almost like you can have people subscribe to Patreon for free, and they will get updates that are like posted to that like free level or whatever. So I might start doing that and being like, hey, this is because I don't. I've always said for a long time I don't want to put my like art itself behind like a paywall, but like the more hostile the internet becomes towards artists, I'm like, even if I'm just like, because I know I do have like a $2 tier where you can see every post, you just don't get like the stuff in the mail. But I'm like, I can't really be like, hey man, you just want to see my work, $2. It just sucks too, right? Because Twitter is like by far my biggest like audience on social media, and now it's like, all right, cool. Well, now this is fucking useless. So thank you so much for that, middle aged dick bag. I hate this dude so much. And just seeing all his dumbass shit that he's done. I don't know how anyone can look at this dude and be like, oh, he's brilliant. I'm just like, he must not know what an actual smart person is. I was concerned that the I made the other one too big, so now when I try to put the next one in, it's got a giant dumb cube head. So, but I think that looks good. like in terms of style, I think it fits. Yeah, I mean, I to be fair, I have enjoyed uh I've just been cross posting on Blue Sky just because it's like that's the one that I hope becomes a thing because everyone's like, oh, threads. I fucking hate Instagram. I hate the way it is for art and shit because they've actively made it so terrible and it just makes me mad. Um so and I just the experience of using the app is terrible. And I don't understand why everyone's so quick to like get in bed with a Facebook company again. Like it seems wild to me. Like everyone just forgot like how shit it was. Um, so I really don't like Threads. Blue Sky's been fine. I can't be fucking with this Mastodon shit. You know what I mean? I tried. That shit is a desert for me. There's nothing there. I don't know. I'm gonna try to roll up that. I don't know if I put InDesign in here. I mean, I guess so you guys could look at the document for a skosh while we get there. I mean, it's probably like too zoomed out to even see, but uh, where are the character names? Okay, this is my table of names. So I'm gonna roll a d20 here, and by that I mean I'm going to Google. I'm gonna say d20. Ian win or Ain win. I don't know how you'd say it, but that's what we rolled. It's funny because I was trying out too because I don't know. 'Cause again, I don't know how the printing and shit works, right? Because I'm a damn fool. But I was like, man, would I have to make them like not all the different colors and shit, right? Because that could get expensive printing all these colors. So I was playing around with like grayscale ones. But yeah, I think that looks alright. Realize y'all probably can't see this because I think InDesign is still over the top, right? Indian design, dude. Look at that. Cool guy, horned crown of wood brambles with a long scarf and a wooden staff with bones. Oh my god, we forgot the color on here. I think my overall goal with the game is that people have fun creating their own weird wizard dude, and if they enjoy actually playing the game, cool. Bonus, I guess. My secret settings, dude. Watch out. Where's I don't remember where I saved them. Hold on. Don't look at all my secret folders. I don't think I'm gonna make another image that has the roll options on it. I just don't think enough people care. Well, so again, and that's my only thing that sucks about it, right? Because Blue Sky's invite only still. Like, it seems the closest to Twitter, but like way more chill. My reason why I don't like Threads is because, again, much like Instagram, it's so catered toward like influencers and shit. Like, you're like, I have like 500 and something followers on Threads already, and I've posted like 3 times. But because it has the built-in audience from Instagram, people assume that's going to make it great, but at least for me and my personal experience, I find that like I didn't get a ton of traction on Instagram anyways with the like 5,000 followers, whatever the fuck I have on there, because I'm not posting like 4 times a day or whatever the fuck Instagram wants me to do. And then Threads seems to be basically the same. Like, unless you already have an absolute massive audience or are posting like all the time, like, there's nothing there for me. Uh, and I just don't care. And I mean, granted, I'd say I don't care because I generally don't care about social media, but I do. I'm not so naive to say like, hey, it doesn't matter in terms of like my work, because it does. But with Blue Sky stuff, I have like I feel like there's more, because what I liked about Twitter was the fact that I could have like a genuine interaction with someone. Whereas like if I posted a thing, like I could have a conversation with someone about it, which is what I used to love about Instagram way back in the day when I first that was like the main social media I used, because I like the dialogue on art or posts, right? Like I like putting an opinion out there or thought, oh hey, I've just played this game, I think it's rad, and then actually being able to converse with people about that, which like you can't do that shit nowadays anymore anywhere, which sucks. Um, which again is why I like the Discord, and we do have one. It's very mellow, but like I do like when people have conversations in there. Same reason why I like doing the newsletter and shit now, because it gives me a much bigger space to like get more in depth with my ideas or things I want to talk about. Whereas like most social media stuff is not that. I'm not someone who can boil my ideas down into like a sentence or two. Like I tend to ramble, I tend to like get in the weeds when I'm talking about something. So more long form stuff fits me. The internet's shifting from long form to like hyper short form stuff absolutely killed me, because I hate fucking reels. I don't like TikToks. I don't like this shit that's like, hey, here's 30 seconds of a thing just shotgun blasting your retinas. Hopefully it sticks for you. Like, oh, God, I can't stand it. And this is very much old man yelling at a cloud, but like that's just where I'm at. You know what I mean? Wanted to try and see. Man, I found a gray one way back before that I really liked. I feel like I just absolutely missed it. No, different, no. So basically, yeah, I'm trying to find a gray option um, that will work in case I need to go that route. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I just don't have the time nor the desire, which I know sucks, but that's why I'm trying to like, I'm trying to more lean into the things I can do, like get back to streaming more, which again, even though like I don't, if I'm being wholly honest, like I love streaming, but I don't really care about streaming on Twitch. Like I don't think honestly, I just don't think it's great for art streams, which I mean, I get it's not the focus, but like they don't do anything to help promote uh art streams or anything like that. Like they're not featured or any of that shit, which I know I'm not looking for like handouts and like who am I anyways, but like anyone really, I never see art streams anywhere. Um and it's just kind of a ball like when I'm like, oh, all right, I want to put the video up for YouTube for people that missed it or whatever. And it's just like, oh, now I got to go do a whole other thing. So I've been thinking about switching to just streaming straight on YouTube, and it'll just put the video up after the stream is over. Um, but I just haven't made that like swap yet. If I will, I don't know. Maybe I'll save another one out with the gray just to have it. Boost both of them and say, hey, here's what a grayscale version. I think if I was going to print, right, it would be in black and white with maybe one color as like the gold or whatever color we wanted to have. I don't know. Grayscale mostly. Okay, but that is not the main color, so save that out. Those Photoshop see you later.